Hello, people. I introduce you to the Helpy theory. Without further ado, let's just jump right into it. Despite what people may say, FNaF World is definitely canon. Let me do a quick recap of the lore of FNaF World. After Charlotte was murdered in 1983 by William Afton, she not only gave gifts and gave life to 4 of the 5 missing children, but she also infected an arcade game in that exact location. A game that the real world is connected to. A game that has an effect on what happens in the real world. I believe that game is Five Nights at Freddy's World. The opening cutscene to the game is what Cassidy sees after his first death, and then he is revived, but that's besides the point. The gameplay itself is basically the game playing itself until the very end. After you get all of the clocks, you get this cutscene that says the following: "We are still your friends. Do you believe that? The pieces are in place for you. All you have to do is find them. Rest." This is Charlotte Emily talking to Cassidy Afton after the bite of 83. She's telling Cassidy that the game she infected left out lots of breadcrumbs for both him and Michael to find. Breadcrumbs are a metaphor for the pieces that need to be put in place for Cassidy's happiest day. For example, the stuff in Dreamgeist's head, the objects you can use in FNaF 3 to obtain access to the minigames, the stuff you find in the halls of the other FNaF 3 minigames, the existence of any minigames whatsoever. Why do you think each FNaF game has minigames of all things? Because FNaF World is a game. Sorry guys, I'm getting off topic. But they are all breadcrumbs for Cassidy, who is now in the form of Golden Freddy, and Michael Afton. Mainly directed toward Michael Afton. But one question remains. How did the videographic game physically leave breadcrumbs for those two? Sure, Adventure Freddy left the breadcrumbs, but how? Adventure Freddy couldn't have just walked out of the game screen, because that would mean decades in the future, Glitchtrap could have just done the same thing. What sense does that make? No. The adventure animatronics need some... how do I say this? Physical prowess. A physical vessel. A physical being. Some sort of physical being to help them navigate their way through the external world. A physical being that really suits their digital lifestyle. Which animatronic really looks like an adventure animatronic? Which physical character is small, cute, and completely harmless? Which animatronic suits the description of each playable character from FNaF World? I wonder who that could be.
My God, Spencer, just spit it out!
Alright, fine. Helpy is possessed by the adventure animatronics. Okay, hold on just a second. I have loads of evidence for this theory. To start off, let's go to another game in the FNaF universe. FNaF VR Help Wanted. Helpy is in that game, but mostly as a mascot on the screen. That could be a reference to how the adventure animatronics were being played inside of an arcade game. We see him on every single slide of the selection screen in both the original and the Curse of Dreadbear DLC. Speaking of the VR game, there are actually 3 Easter eggs where you can see a 3D model of Helpy. The first one is in the level selection, where he's right next to the monitor, like he was once part of one, perhaps? The second Easter egg really got to me and is honestly my favorite Easter egg of the 3. In the levels of FNaF 2, very rarely you can see Helpy next to the bookshelf on your left. It's kind of weird to see him in FNaF 2. Why FNaF 2 of all places? I know why he's in FNaF 2. Because FNaF 2 is the only game from World to Pizza Sim that contains no breadcrumbs whatsoever. Think about it. FNaF World is the origin of the breadcrumbs. FNaF 1 has breadcrumbs. FNaF's sister location has breadcrumbs. FNaF 3 is full of breadcrumbs. Even the logbook has breadcrumbs. FNaF 4 is the origin of the breadcrumbs. And Pizza Sim shows all the breadcrumbs taken care of. Helpy being in FNaF 2 is a metaphor for the adventure animatronics completing their job by leaving breadcrumbs and are hiding in the place where there are none to show that Cassidy and Michael are on their own and need to find the pieces themselves. The third Easter egg I sadly have no footage of because it's so incredibly rare, but if you're very lucky, you can see Helpy on one of the conveyor belts in the Build-A-Mangle level. That could be a reference to how the sprites of all 48 adventure animatronics are all possessing one body, Helpy. Still not convinced? Let's go to another game. Ultimate Custom Night. Also, do you remember when I said that Ultimate Custom Night was within the code of the VR game? I was actually wrong. It's within the code of the FNaF World arcade game instead. But anyway, Ultimate Custom Night, FNaF Infinity War, the crossover, William's Punishment. Did you know that Scott programmed each character into UCN in a random order? For example, the last animatronics to get put into the game were Bonnie and Foxy. Now, let's get into the evidence. The first animatronic to get programmed into Ultimate Custom Night was none other than Golden Freddy himself. It makes perfect sense because Golden Freddy, Cassidy, the Crying Child, whatever, is in control of Ultimate Custom Night. Now, let me ask you this. Who is the second character programmed into Ultimate Custom Night? Well, I'll let my boy Eth Goes Boom explain it in his Toy Bonnie voice.
Alright guys, let's go read the second Steam post, and for this, I'm gonna bring on my two special guests, Golden Freddy and Helpy!
That's right, Helpy. Helpy is the second character to be programmed into Ultimate Custom Night. But why? Why Helpy of all characters? I know why. Ultimate Custom Night takes place within FNaF World, so it makes perfect sense for Helpy to be the second character because Cassidy is within the code of the game Helpy's life source originated from. And on another note, when Scott was making the roster for the game, he originally planned on adding Adventure Endo 01, but later scrapped him, then added Helpy soon after. An adventure animatronic gets scrapped to make room for Helpy. Come on, it's like Scott was shoving the answers right in our faces. Another thing is how Helpy attacks us using an air horn. That could be a parallel to the attack in FNaF World titled Jumpscare, but that seems like a stretch. While we're on the subject of that game, who else remembers this teaser? It depicts Adventure Mangle hanging on the string of her paddle ball like a noose. By the looks of it, Adventure Mangle seems to have broken her neck on that noose. Who else breaks their neck if dealt with the wrong way? Exactly. Now, let's go to our last piece of evidence. Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria Simulator. Scott Cawthon said in the doco interview that Pizza Sim's purpose was to tie up all of the loose ends, meaning it solves all the mysteries of what happened in the past. And that's why I think it makes perfect sense for Helpy's first appearance to be in Pizza Sim, the one game where all the breadcrumbs are together. And there you have it, guys. That's the Helpy theory. I really hope you like it and at least think about it. I spent a lot of time writing about it and doing research and all that stuff, but in the end, I think it was worth it. Could Helpy be possessed by the sprites of the adventure animatronics? Possibly. I hope so. I'm very proud of this theory because very rarely do I theorize. But All right. Have a good day, guys.